exceeded for a certain reaction, phenomenal result, or condition to occur, or be manifold. So what you're saying, low threshold versus high threshold, limit below which stimulus caused no reaction, something a level rate or amount if something comes into effect. And I'm always looking at the the Latin, Greek, depending on the root of the word, thirst cold, fresh cold, and then but this all didn't evolve. A lot of the words evolve, and it's cool to see how they've evolved through time. Really cool. Yeah. Let's go to the comment section. Michael, what do you think? Okay. How about that? It's Michael. I heard the first comment gets all expense paid trip to train with Michael. Just
Come on out.
Awesome. Nelson just said slow in, fast out. Dude, one of the things that I tell my clients, slow is fast, less is more.
Amen.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So, part of my current remaining mission with my time on the earth is to show people what good dog training looks like in timeline wise, right? Because a lot of the choices that especially professional dog trainers are making on a day-to-day basis are geared towards economics and efficacy in a certain time frame. And that's necessary. Like, not everybody's going to take 2 years to get a result that they want. But it's important to recognize that there are compromises when you do that. And good dog training has a tendency to be undramatic, very slow, incremental progress over time, right? I've been filming my current dog who just turned 2, his entire upbringing. I've been planning this for years, and I'm doing it finally, right? So I've recorded 90+% of all his training sessions from 8 weeks till now, and then I'm kind of voicing more, but they're completely unedited on purpose, meaning I voice over them afterwards, but the whole thing's in there, like what I did right before the session itself, all the downtime in the session, during it, and then you can see what a dog training session looks like in real life, because with these days, with the internet, everything goes bang, 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 bang. And everybody sees something here and then a result there, and they think, well, what happened in between, right? And a lot of the important stuff happens in the downtime and all that sort of stuff. And we get an unrealistic feel for how fast it should go and what the flow should be like. And so slow is fast. If you look at really skilled dog trainers, they don't put those timelines on themselves with their own dogs. They're basically, the dog will tell me how fast I can go. And I go as fast as the dog tells me they're up for. Right?
Yep, and when to stop and when to maybe take a couple steps back to take 10 steps forward, right? It's like, listen to the dog. The dog is, we have a feedback loop right here. And I often tell people, like, I'm not the expert, I'm the human. We're human beings. This is our expert. This is this is who tells us if we're on the right track and if we need to adjust it a little bit, or if I'm full of crap too. That's what I tell them. Don't believe me. Your dog is going to tell you. So that's so happy to see you and Michael having this conversation. Started working with dogs when I was 14. I'm 54 now.
All right.
Dog grooming to help people live a successful life with their dog. Awesome.
That's you.
Yeah, and I tell kids too, man. Like, and I see a lot of talent in my clients' kids more than I see in some of my colleagues. And I'm look. Yeah, and I tell them, like, just like you started young, Mike. It's like when I was a young kid, I knew I wanted to do this. When I was 8 years old, and now I'm 48.
That's great.
I do that, and so I encourage them. It's like, look, there's certain things in your life that are going to change. Like, you're going to watch yourself grow, you'll watch your friends and your environment grow, but there's certain aspects about you that will always remain the same. Pay attention to those.
For sure.
The ride is worth it. What's up, Tracy? Hello, gentlemen. Yes, the whole life effect about the journey. Stop worrying, wanting something to become it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know Nelson?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, questions for later. Okay, so now we got some questions here. Malinois are meant to have some aggression, including fun sports activities. Will there ever come a time when aggressive dogs no longer have practical use in society?
I hope not. I mean, it's a possibility. Like, so we are certainly looking, reducing their use on in those arenas these days. So law enforcement is using them less and less that way. Military, mostly they're using them for search work. Certainly one could argue whether that's a necessity to have them at all, period. But the breeds that I fell in love with as a kid and have spent my life working with, part of the reason that they are what they are is because they have been bred for aggression work and protection work and those sorts of things. And I'm a weird combination of traits. I'm a hippie pacifist that really likes biting dogs. So I'd go figure what that little internal contradiction of mine. But yes, I agree with you. Malinois are meant to have some aggression in sports activities, and increasingly society doesn't want that in dogs. And we may run up against a point in the future where they want that gone from society. But I hope not. I hope we can continue to interact with these creatures because they're amazing. And they're amazing not in spite of the fact that they have the potential for carrying aggression, but because of the fact that they do.
Gising, commute, work, away.
Silog!
Pure foods. Gising, commute, work.
Silog!
Pure foods. Wait, gising.
Silog!
Pure foods.
Paulit-ulit mong kasasabi.
That they do, in my opinion.
Yep. Well, and that, like you said, the aggression, sports activities, fun sports activities, like even the aggression we channel into by work, right? We channel into something that is productive, or where we establish a relationship through the aggressive tendencies that this dog innately has. Right? And then also look at robots and stuff like that. Like even when I look at police situations where they're sending in drones and robots and stuff, where the dog would typically be the one that did that. We'll see innovations, and that might influence what we see. What genetic health issues do you think future Malinois breeders are likely to encounter after you're gone?
They're going to get the full gamut. Like, so here's the problem with Malinois and Malinois breeding. Malinois were, until very recently, not popular amongst the general dog population. They were a kind of hardcore working dog, and a very specific hardcore working dog, meaning it was police, military, and police-style protection disciplines. Belgium, Holland, France, the countries that are responsible for the breed in the last 125, 30 years. They were biting dogs. They were doing sports or disciplines that were meant to select dogs for law enforcement police work, right? And they did not care a rat's ass about what they looked like, how big they were, none of that stuff. Did they do the work, and were they healthy? Meaning they had to do big jumps, they had to do all the things, and they let the task that the dogs had to do select their breeding stock, and they were downright ruthless. Like the old-timer breeders that created the breed in the early days, they didn't put up with any kind of health issues, they didn't put up with any kind of deficiencies in temperament or any of that stuff. And so they were a little bit ruthless about that kind of thing. Now the breed in the last 20 years has exploded in popularity. When I first got I've been breeding Malinois myself for 30 years, and when I first got Malinois, you would never see a Malinois in a shelter, ever. Like, and if one showed up, the 5 people in the town that had Malinois showed up, like, what the heck? How did you get here, right? They just, not at all. Now, shelters and rescues are full of them. I see them every day when I go out with just companion dog people, pet dog owners, walking Malinois down the street, which you never saw 20 years ago. They were, only people had them were law enforcement or kind of hardcore working dog people. And as soon as a breed starts to, popularity expands outside of that, then there are going to be people that are going to be willing to breed them without all the selection process. Do they work? Are they healthy? Are they able to sustain it for extended periods of time? What's their temperament like? All that kind of stuff goes out the window. They just want dogs that look like Malinois. And so I think we're going to see over the next number of years a rise in genetic health issues that Malinois never had in the past, or because they were selected out if they had them. They'll be all the same that everybody else has. That all the purebred dog people that become popular, the same problems they have, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, a pit bull comes to mind. That's one thing that I see. Like a lot of this used to be more of a sound temperament, but I see some pretty off the wall pit bulls out there, man. I'm just like, so that's a perfect example.
Pit bull's another example. Like, so their history is dogfighting, right? And so, but the old time people that bred them for dogfighting back in the day cared about nothing but that. The dogs couldn't be aggressive towards people. They had to be physically very sound. They had to be healthy. Otherwise, they couldn't do all these things. And they selected only the dogs that did that. So traditionally, pit bulls were not aggressive towards people at all. Like, you have a really hard time finding a pit bull that would bite somebody in the old days because those guys wouldn't tolerate it. Like, they were dog fighters and they had to handle the dogs while they were fighting with each other and stuff like that. And the dog would bite you. We have a problem in the world, in the country. Like, they're not. If you ever see those breed lists, the most popular dog is the golden retriever, whatever. They're going off AKC registrations. They're not going off the number of dogs that are out there on the street. And there are more pit bulls than any other breed out there on the street. And they can be wonderful dogs, but because they're popular, there are all kinds of people breeding them with no selection process at all. They don't test them for anything. They don't. If their temperaments are bad, they don't care. There's lots of accidental breedings, all that kind of stuff. So it's all about selection when it comes to breeding. And as soon as a dog becomes pop market for the puppies, now you're in trouble, both health-wise and health-wise.
Frenchies, those are another example of this. It just expands the pool. Thank you, darling. I just got a refill on my coffee. Come delivered to me, room service. Love it.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's just the sheer, it's a numbers game, and a lot of them get through the cracks. That typically would be cold, and that's what we're talking about. That's what would happen. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's the truth of how these dogs were handled previously. In general, how has your training changed since the Leopard DVD, is Michael?
Good question. So it's always evolving and changing. So a couple of things that I would say are more on my radar